Second example beta. Same as example 1 except మొత్తం ప్రాసెస్ కాస్టింగ్ అయిపోయింది అక్కడే. Same as example 1 except 1000 units are in process. 1000 units are in process. Harshit, beta door बंद कर देना please. 1000 units are in process. Degree of completion 50%. Degree of completion 50%. Degree of completion 50%. Valuation उसके नीचे completed units का value क्या रहेगा? Valuation guys, what will I write beta? Completed units जो है guys, completed units for this process. Next process के लिए again it will become input. Only as far as this process is concerned, it's a fully completed unit. So 9000 units multiplied by 52 point आगे कुछ था क्या 63 के 16 ये लिखना है बेटा. completed units 9000 श्रेष्ठ 9000 into 52.6316 बेटा कितना ये 4,684 guys. What will be the valuation of work in process बेटा 1000 units? तुम लोग क्या लिखोगे बेटा? 1000 units 50% complete 52.6316. समझ में आ रहा है ये बेटा? रियल लाइफ में we do not write 500 into 52.6316. in fact cost per unit is written as 50% of 52.6316. you write 1000 units but you take cost per unit as 50% of 52.6316. that is how you compute it, but one and the same बेटा. ये कितना है 26,316. 26,316 guys will be your value of work in process. Process account बनाओ. Process account guys. To material guys, input that you have introduced is how much? 10,000 units, 3 lakh rupees. Other expenses बेटा है दो लाइन, फटाफट लिखो. स्केल पेंसिल by next process बेटा. units transferred to next process. कितने units transfer कर रहे हैं? 9000 units whose value will be 4,73,684. ये जो बाकी का है बेटा उसको क्या लिखेंगे? by closing work in process. this will not go to next account guys. this will remain in the same account. in the next month it will become two opening work in process. as and when it is completed it will get transferred to the next process. So this 1000 units will have a value of 26,316. Are we getting it? 26,316 rupees guys will be the value of these 1000 units. Any doubt in this kids? Example 3. Write down. Is everyone done with process account? Write down beta. Normally materials are introduced. Example 3 में explanation के साथ दे रहा हूँ बेटा सब कुछ. Normally materials are introduced at the beginning of the production process. Normally materials are introduced at the beginning of the production process. Beginning of the production process. Materials are introduced at the beginning of the production process. So the degree of completion for materials is usually 100%. The degree of completion for materials is usually 100%. The degree of completion for materials is usually 100%. So chair Rasanava. The degree of completion for materials is usually 100%. Only labor and overheads. Only labor and overheads will be partially incurred for work in process units. will be partially incurred for work in process units. Only labor and overheads will be partially incurred for work in process units. Work in process units. Take care. So now guys, right on. The 1000 work in process units. 1000 work in process units. Degree of completion material 100%. Degree of completion material 100%. Labor and overhead 60%. Degree of completion beta material 100%, labor and overheads 60%. Next line. The number of equivalent units. The number of equivalent units. The number of equivalent units will now be different for material and other expenses. The number of equivalent units will now be different for material and other expenses. The number of equivalent units will now be different for material and other expenses. For material and other expenses. So we have to separately compute cost per unit. So we have to separately compute cost per unit. We have to separately compute cost per unit. Separately compute cost per unit for material and other expenses. For material and other expenses. For material and other expenses. तो अपने equivalent units कितने हो जाएंगे बेटा अभी? Material के लिए क्या लिखूं बेटा मैं? 9000 completed units only plus 100% of 1000. 10,000 नहीं, 100% of 1000 बेटा. So total will be 10,000. Labor and overheads के लिए बेटा 9000 completed units as it is. But for those work in process units I will write 60% of 1000. That will be 600. So when I write cost per unit guys, material के लिए क्या लिखूं बेटा? 3 lakh rupees. देखना बेटा, दिखा नहीं. For labor and overheads guys, what is the amount that we have incurred? Divide by 9600. 20.83333. So 50.83333. $50.8333. वैल्यूएशन क्या करोगे बेटा? कंप्लीटेड यूनिट्स का क्या रहोगे? I'll directly write 9000 multiplied by 50.8333. చెప్తే రాస్తాను. 4,05,000. वर्क इन प्रोसेस के लिए क्या लिखूं बेटा मैं? मटीरियल के लिए आई विल राइट 1000 यूनिट्स इंटू 30. फॉर लेबर एंड ओवरहेड्स क्या लिखूं बेटा? 600 इंटू 20.8333. समझ में आ रहा है ये? दिस विल बिकम हाउ मच? 42,500. एग्जाम्पल 4 guys. Right on. Normal loss is 5% of input. Normal loss is 5% of input. Normal loss is 5% of input. 9000 units are fully completed. 9000 units are fully completed. 9000 units are fully completed. Fully completed. 500 units are in process. 500 units are in process. 500 units are in process. The degree of completion, material 100%, labor and overheads 60%. degree of completion, material 100%, labor and overhead 60%, labor and overhead 60%. Next, scrap has no realizable value. Scrap has no realizable value. Scrap has no realizable value. So guys, नॉर्मल अभी भी कुछ वो नहीं है, बट इतना याद रखना दैट हियर आफ्टर द मिनट वी कम अक्रॉस नॉर्मल लॉस, अब नॉर्मल लॉसेस एंड एवरीथिंग, प्रोसेस अकाउंट में बेटा ऑन द डेबिट्स व्हाट डू यूनिट्स में व्हाट डू वी हैव गाइस, डेबिट साइड में यूनिट्स जो है वुडंट यू हैव इनपुट प्लस दे कैन बी ओपनिंग वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. अभी तक नहीं आया बेटा, बट यू मे हैव opening work in progress, yes or no, and abnormal gain. These are the units that you will see guys on the debit side of process account. Any doubt in this? On the credit side you will have normal loss, you will have abnormal loss, you will have completed units, that is units transferred, and you will have closing work in progress. Yes or no guys? अभी तक बेटा till now we have been writing normal output as total input, that is input plus opening work in progress minus normal loss. Hi Anna guys. Hereafter we can also write this normal output as completed units plus abnormal loss plus closing work in progress minus, will that still give me normal output only? Yes or no guys? समझ में आ रहा क्या बोल रहा हूँ बेटा? This is what we are going to write. Now in our case as such guys, input is 10,000 units, yes or no? Normal loss कितना है? 500 units. So this should be 9,000, but when you write equivalent units, instead of writing like this, I will write material beta 9,000 completed units plus 100% of how many units? 500 units. Closing work in progress. Here we are writing beta now completed units plus closing work in progress. But closing work in progress ka beta you have to take equivalent units. You cannot directly add total. Hi Anna. Labor and overheads ke liye guys, what will I write? 9,000 plus 60% of those 500 units. 9,000. ये समझ में आया नहीं बेटा जो भी लिखा मैं अभी ऊपर? Yes. Your cost per unit guys for material will be how much? 3 lakh rupees divided by 9,500. 4 decimal point बेटा 31.5789. ये बोल बेटा लेबर एंड ओवरहेड्स 2 lakhs डिवाइडेड बाय 9,300. 5054 दोनों ऐड करो बच्चों. 0843 53.0843 as such beta would be the amount. Are we clear about this? Valuation जब करना है बेटा what will I write? Completed units कितने हैं बेटा? 9,000. What will I do with 9,000? I'll multiply by 53 point. How much will that be guys? पांच लोग साथ में बोलो बेटा अच्छे से सुनाई देगा. बोल 759. ये शुरू नहीं करता उसका ये शुरू कर देता बस. क्लोजिंग वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस बेटा मटेरियल गाइस विल बी 500 यूनिट्स. दोनों ऐड करके बोल मेरे को. धैर्य. लेबर एंड ओवरहेड्स बेटा राइट 300 यूनिट्स इनटू 21.5054. और दोनों का टोटल 5 लाख रहना बेटा. तो मैं 5 लाख माइनस वो कर दिया, मेरे को ये आ गया. आई जस्ट वांटेड टू चेक वेदर इट्स राइट आंसर और नॉट. समझ में आएगा सबको ये? नाउ व्हेन आई प्रिपेयर प्रोसेस अकाउंट गाइस, you will write 2 input guys, units introduced कितना 10,000 units at an amount of 3 lakhs. To other expenses, that is labor and overheads, whatever, how much? By normal loss, how many units? 0. No scrap value of normal loss, guys. By completed or units transferred to next process, but how many units were fully completed? 9,000 units. They were valued at an amount of 4,77,759 by closing work in progress. Closing work in progress, whatever, 300 units valued, 500 units valued at 22,241. Number of units 500 ही लिखोगे बेटा. You will not write 500 and 300 separately. Are we all clear about this? So on my end, so this is if there's normal loss to start better, this is what you will do. Start writing example 5, same as example 4, except normal loss has a scrap value of 10 rupees per unit. Normal loss has a scrap value of 10 rupees per unit. परसों से था, परसों तो रोड पे घूम रहा था ना, तभी भी लगे सो ही था वो. How? Yes, guys. Scrap has a normal loss of how much better? 10 rupees per unit. Are we clear about this? What did I tell you, guys? We know that we have to adjust scrap value of normal loss better in order to arrive at cost per unit. But the problem here is that we are computing cost per unit separately for material and labor and overheads. That is why what do we do better? We deduct it from material expenditure only. What is the logic behind deducting it from material expenditure? The scrap that we realize as such, guys, is for the material component. Are we clear? Right on, better. The scrap value of normal loss should be adjusted. The scrap value of normal loss should be adjusted. To arrive at cost per unit. However, as we are computing cost per unit separately for material and other expenses, cost per unit separately for material and other expenses, as we are computing cost per unit separately for material and other expenses, we deduct scrap value of normal loss. Entirely from the material cost. We deduct scrap value of normal loss entirely from material cost. We deduct scrap value of normal loss entirely from material cost. Next line, guys. What is the reason? As a scrap realization will only depend on the material component. Are we clear about this, guys? Now, so मैं equivalent units compute नहीं कर रहा बेटा. It is exactly the same as previous question. Yes or no, guys? वहाँ पे लिख लेना बेटा. Example 5 में equivalent units same as previous example. इक्विवेलेंट यूनिट्स सेम एज प्रीवियस एग्जाम्पल. अब कॉस्ट पर यूनिट कैसे लिखूंगा बेटा मटेरियल के लिए? 3 lakhs minus 5,000. Did I say 10 rupees per unit? Divided by how much is that? लेबर एंड ओवरहेड्स का भी बोल दो बेटा, सेम रहेगा वो तो. 2 lakhs divided by 9,300. 5054 total 52.5580 guys will be the cost per unit. Are we all understanding this? Yes or no kids? समझ में आ गया ये? Is everyone done with this? Valuation करो बेटा. Completed units का वैल्यू कितना रहेगा? 9,000 units into 52.558. 22 rupees. Work in progress valuation beta would be material का 500 units will multiply by 31.0526 guys, and labor and overheads का beta 300 units will multiply by 21.5054. You should get 21,978. Prepare process account beta after this. दोनों का टोटल 5 lakhs नहीं रहेगा बेटा, बिकॉज 5,000 इज द स्क्रैप वैल्यू ऑफ नॉर्मल लॉस. तो इसीलिए वो 5,000 पहले 4,73,000 को ऐड करके फिर 5 lakhs माइनस कर, मेंटली अगर कर रहा है तो. इन दोनों का टोटल शुड बी 4,95,000, नॉट 5 lakhs. बाय we have scrap realization which is reducing our total manufacturing cost by 5,000 rupees. All done guys? Any doubt in this? Exact account beta, except that you will write by normal loss 500 units की जगह क्या लिखोगे वहाँ पे? 5,000. बाकी this valuation will change. This will become 5,000 rupees guys. In place of this you're going to write the value that you've computed for completed units, and in place of the next one you're going to write the value of those work in process units. Any doubt in this? Did you all get the answer guys? Next beta. बच्चों next example, example 6. Example 6 guys. Normal loss is 5% of input. Normal loss is 5% of input. Normal loss is 5% of input. Completed units 8,800. Completed units 8,800. Completed units 8,800. 8,800. Completed units 8,800. Next. Closing work in progress 500 units. Closing work in progress 500 units. 500 units. Degree of brackets में बेटा डायरेक्टली मटेरियल 100%, लेबर एंड ओवरहेड 60%. समझ जाओगे ना? In brackets बेटा मटेरियल 100%, लेबर एंड ओवरहेड 60%. लेबर एंड ओवरहेड 60%. Total units scrapped 700. Total units scrapped 700. Total units scrapped 700. In brackets, material 100%, labor and overheads 40%. My wish. Material 100%, labor and overheads 40%. Now guys, I have now introduced abnormal loss. If you go as per the information in the question guys, 10,000 units, normal loss should have been only 500 units. Yes or no beta, without yawning? Our normal loss should have been only 500 units, which means normal output beta should have been 9,500 units. But if you add your completed units and closing work in progress beta, we get an amount of 9,300 units. 9,300, 9,500, that means there's an abnormal loss of 200. That is why units scrapped are 700. पूरा unit scrapped is not abnormal loss. उसमें से obviously there will be normal loss also. How much is your normal loss? So abnormal loss beta will be 200 units. Are you following? Abnormal loss also has a degree of completion. It is not like your completed unit, guys. You cannot have the same cost per unit for abnormal loss, guys, or for other units. So but इसके पहले questions में पूरा same लिए ना बोल के इसके पूरे questions में बेटा जो पहले करे, the implied assumption was that the loss is occurring after complete manufacturing. Now beta, this is more realistic what we are doing. Real life mein loss does not arise after complete manufacturing beta. If the loss is identified during the production process, you stop it there only. You do not further process. Spoilage बोल के पढ़े थे देखो याद है. So spoilage है तो बेटा you stop there only. You will not fully complete the product beta and then throw it. Are we all understanding this, guys? Let's say बेटा that you are making a pizza as such, guys. Base जल गया, क्या करते हैं ऊपर चीज डाल के सब्जियां डाल के फिर बाहर फेंकते हैं या ऐसे ही फेंक देंगे? Are we understanding this? This is what the example better here is. So pay attention. Input कितना बोला बेटा मैं? 10,000 units. जिसमें से normal loss कितना है? 5% बेटा 500. Our output, guys, will be 9,500. This should have been my normal output. Hi Anna. But if I compare this, guys, my completed units are how many units? 8,800. How much is your work in progress? It doesn't add up. The balancing figure beta will become abnormal loss. वो unit scrapped जो है ना बेटा वो देने की जरूरत नहीं थी मेरे को 700. But because this is an example, I want you to understand. Because you can definitely compute that as a balance. Even without mentioning units scrapped 700, can't you compute abnormal losses 200 units? Yes or no, guys? अपने understanding के लिए बेटा total units scrapped कितने? 700. ये 700 में बेटा normal loss कितना है? Abnormal loss 200 units. Are we clear? These two normal loss के लिए degree of completion not relevant. Because you do not allocate any cost to normal loss. You allocate cost only to abnormal loss. So वो जो unit scrap का degree of completion दिया हुआ है ना bracket में 700 units के लिए, you ignore it for 500 units. That's relevant only for 200 units. Normal loss के लिए क्यों relevant नहीं है? Why is it not relevant? It always has a zero amount. You do not allocate any cost to normal loss, guys. You value it at scrap value. You compute cost per unit only for abnormal loss. So for this normal loss beta, degree of completion is not relevant. Yes or no? Not relevant. किसके लिए relevant रहेगा? Only for? Now pay attention, guys. In every question we'll be preparing something called a statement of equivalent units and cost per unit. Statement of equivalent units and cost per unit, guys. We divide the statement into two parts, input and output. And then, guys, I'll write material के लिए कितने equivalent units, labor and overheads के लिए कितने equivalent units. Are you all following? जैसे guys, my completed units are how many units? Obviously they are 100% complete. वो थोड़ी partially complete है. Wouldn't I write 100%? अभी तक जो मैं sentence के form में लिख रहा था बेटा, I'm just presenting that in the form of a statement now. Abnormal loss are how many units? 200 units. Degree of completion? 100% for material. How much for labor and overheads? 40% for labor and overheads. How much is the degree of completion for closing work in progress? Total units कितने बेटा? 500. So 100%, guys. 60%. Did I not tell you hereafter I will be writing normal output as completed units plus abnormal loss plus closing work in progress minus abnormal gain if any. अब यहाँ पे abnormal loss है ना यार, थोड़ा सुनो ना मेरे मशीनों, समझ में आ रहा है बेटा? How much is the amount of input, guys? 10,000 units. From this, if I deduct normal loss, won't it match? But we do not deduct normal loss here. We write normal loss here. Sir, क्या कर रहे हो देख के? I'll write 500, but I'll write 0. You do not write minus normal loss, guys, on the debit side. Instead, you'll write normal loss there only. But under equivalent units, you will still write 0. When I write 0 here, I am not allocating any cost to normal loss. That is just to tally my total input and total output. Number of units better. So instead of writing normal loss, guys, as minus normal loss from input, you will not do that. Instead, you will write it here only. But in the outer column, beta, when you write percentage, equivalent units as such, beta, what will you write there? 0. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है guys? सीधा बैठो बेटा, हाथ नीचे रखो, मैं कान के नीचे तो बजाऊंगा. You will write 0, guys. Now the number of equivalent units here are 9,500 for material. You and me both know, guys. 10,000 minus 500, it has to be 9,500 only. For labor and overheads, beta, it will be 9,180. So on my statement of equivalent units. This is going to be the format of every single question that we are presenting better now. Nidhi, हर एक question में अपन ऐसे ही present करेंगे. कुछ दवाई ली क्या break में? Are we all clear about this? I'm giving so many examples, better just to ensure that you understand it properly and there's no trial and error later. Are we all clear? Cost incurred कितना है बेटा material के लिए? 3 lakhs. Labor and overheads. But don't we deduct scrap value of normal loss, beta? Do I deduct scrap value of normal loss, guys, from material or from labor and overheads? How many units? Same, beta. 500 units at 10 rupees. So this will become 2,95,000. This will become cost per unit कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? And seven, 8. This will be my cost per unit. समझ में आया नहीं आया बेटा ये? Are we all clear about this? See guys, it is as good as writing beta equivalent units बोल के. Completed units 8,800. Work in progress का बेटा 100% of those 500 units. अब normal loss का 100% of 200 units. This is for material. For labor and overheads, guys, it is 8,800 plus 60% of 500 units plus. I cannot write like this, but I have to present it थोड़ा properly. तो ऐसे statement में लिखूंगा मैं. वही तो लिख रहा हूँ ना मैं. 8,800 plus 100% of those 200 plus 100% of 500. 8,800 plus 40% plus 60%. Are we understanding this? सबको समझ में आ गया बेटा ये? Now when you value, guys, what are we going to write? Completed units कितने बेटा? 8,800. Those 8,800 I'll multiply by what? 31.0526 plus 21.7865. 50. Total into 8,800. 4,60,000. Proud of you. Abnormal loss better. For material I will take 200 units, but for labor and overheads I'll take only. जो भी ऊपर लिख रहे हो ना बेटा उससे मल्टीप्लाई करना है. ऊपर 200 दिख रहा है यहाँ पे into cost per unit. 80 units ही है ना labor and overheads into cost per unit. How much will that be? 80 into 21.7865. Total करके बोलना बेटा. Closing work in progress बेटा would be 500 units. 500 है ना, वो बार बार भूल जा रहा हूँ यार मैं. हाँ, 500 into 31.0526 plus labor and overheads के लिए क्या लिखूँ? 300 units. 60% of those 500 multiplied by 21.7865. 063. वो जरा वो 4 plus 3 plus 3 बजा 10 रुपीज होया था. अकाउंट टैली होता, रो मत अभी, थोड़ा सोचना पड़ता बट आगे का भी. आर वी क्लियर अबाउट दिस? सो गाइज, इसके पहले के जो स्टार्टिंग के 10-11 क्वेश्चंस है गाइज, वी प्रेजेंटेड द अकाउंट, उसके नीचे वी यूज्ड टू राइट कॉस्ट पर यूनिट. नाउ वी हैव टू फर्स्ट कंप्यूट कॉस्ट पर यूनिट इन अ डिटेल्ड मैनर, then we prepare the account. This is entirely only a working note to prepare your process account. Without this you will not get your process account. इसके पहले प्रॉब्लम क्यों नहीं था? देयर वाज नो इक्विवेलेंट यूनिट्स, नथिंग बट जस्ट ऐड ऑल ऑफ देम, डिवाइड बाय नॉर्मल आउटपुट, गेट डन विद द कॉस्ट पर यूनिट. अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या हो रहा है? एवरीथिंग हैज अ डिफरेंट डिग्री ऑफ कंप्लीशन. दैट इज व्हाई वी हैव टू प्रेजेंट इट इन अ प्रॉपर वे. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Now when I prepare process account, beta, second bench, Varsha, you tell me beta, what all things will come in process account? Start. You know your name na beta, Varsha? Very good beta. What should I write first? Input, other expenses. वो amount मेरे को लगा तो amount बोलती बोल के, but ठीक है. What should I write under units column? Parth, sleep for 2 minutes. अरे 2 मिनट सर नीचे कर बे, वो तेरे पीछे छुप रही, वो भी जा जाके. हाँ बोल बेटा. हाँ, what should I write in number of units column? Did you prepare last question का? అది చూసి చెప్పచ్చు కదా. Do you really think I will ask you to guess a random number and tell me? Yes beta, 2 lakhs. Nashan full happy unnadu. By what should I write beta? Normal loss. How many units? 500. Value same as previous example. Very, वो भी बोलना पड़ रहा है बेटा तुम्हारे को, same as previous example बोल के. By abnormal loss, how many units beta? 200. By units completed, that will be getting transferred to the next process. How many? By closing work in progress, how many units? इन सबका वैल्यूएशन ना अपन की है अभी. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? We just arrived at what should be the cost of this. जैसे abnormal loss is 7953, completed units are 464984, and this is 22063. Sir, what will happen to abnormal loss? Same इसके जैसे पहले ही. You will transfer that to abnormal loss account. Won't that also have a scrap value? How much? 5 rupees, 10 rupees per unit. You will sell those 200 units at 10 rupees per unit, and the net difference will get transferred to. इसके आगे everything is same guys. It's just that these सबका cost per unit अलग है. abnormal loss का अलग है, completed units का अलग है, closing work in progress का अलग है. इसलिए सब लंबा चौड़ा भाषण. Are we clear? Yes or no guys? Any doubt in this kids? Are you all clear about this? Let's start guys. Next example beta, example number 7. अपना इनपुट कितना है बेटा साथ साथ में लिखते जाओ. ये अभी इनपुट 10,000 यूनिट्स गाइस, नॉर्मल लॉस 5%. इनपुट 10,000 यूनिट्स, नॉर्मल लॉस 5% बेटा. दैट विल बी हाउ मेनी यूनिट्स? 500 units. Let's say beta that completed units beta are 9,200. Closing work in progress beta is 400 units. Material 100%. Labor and overheads 60%. Units scrapped guys have material 100%, labor and overheads 40%. Units scrapped will have material 100%, but labor and overheads 40%. लिखे बेटा ये. Yes or no guys? Now beta, pay attention. There is going to be abnormal gain in the given question guys, and when there is abnormal gain guys, the unit of the degree of completion given for units scrapped is useless. It's not relevant. If I go by my normal output is साथ बेटा input जो था अपना 10,000 units है, उसमें से if I deduct the amount of normal loss which is 500 units, I should be left with what? But if I check my completed units is साथ बेटा, those are 9,200 units, and my closing work in progress beta is how many units? 400 units. Balancing figure guys is going to be abnormal gain, and that is going to be whenever you say that there's abnormal gain as such beta, that means instead of getting lesser number of units, we got higher units. Abnormal gain is always in the form of a completed product. So abnormal gain guys, ये जो unit scrapped है, that's a degree of completion only for scrapped units. Gain is not a scrapped unit. Are we clear? So the degree of completion for abnormal gain guys will always and always be 100%. 100% material, 100% labor and overheads. This unit scrapped will undoubtedly apply guys to the units that you're actually scrapping. How many units will you scrap now? Only 400 units. Hi Anna guys. But we know guys that normal loss is how many units? 500. We do not apply degree of completion to normal loss. It is always taken at 0%. समझ में आया? So ये जो degree of completion for unit scrap rate will now become irrelevant when there is abnormal gain. Very good. Write that बेटा. ये लिखो. मैं वो note देता हूँ तुम्हारे को. समझ में आया बेटा ये? Yes or no? Rudraksh. Start beta with. All of you stop writing guys, pay attention. Rudraksh, tell me beta, what am I going to write in the statement of equivalent units now? Input kitna hai? 10,000, alright. Normal. Varad. Completed units. How many completed units beta Varad? 9,200. उसके नीचे बेटा abnormal gain, correct beta? How much? 100 units. Most important, negative 100. How do you compute normal output? अब चिल्लाना minus abnormal gain बोल के समझ में आ रहा है बेटा? So normal output guys is completed units plus closing work in progress minus abnormal gain. You do not write it positive. It's always and always important to remember that you're going to write it as negative. Next beta Bharat. Normal loss अपन लिख तो रहे बेटा units column में, but we are not going to consider it in the outer column. Closing work in progress बेटा Bharat. 400 units. सुनो बेटा बाद में लिखना. What's the degree of completion that I should take for completed units बेटा? 100%. Always and always 100%. Doesn't matter. अब भी तुम्हारे को बोला बेटा मैं that abnormal gain will always be considered at 100%. The degree of completion given for scrap will not apply. Normal loss is always considered at 0%. Yes or no guys? Closing work in progress बेटा 100% for material and how much for labor and overheads? 60%. 240 units. So my equivalent units guys for material will become 9,500. For labor and overheads 9,340 units. इसके आगे का भाषण वही है बेटा. It will never change. Cost incurred guys. Material 3 lakhs. Labor and overheads 2 lakhs. Should I deduct scrap value of normal loss? Though there is abnormal gain guys, you will still deduct scrap value of entire normal loss. ये rule cannot change. This we have been doing right from the first question. कितना है वो? 5,000. This will become 2 lakh 95,000. This will become 2 lakhs. What will be your cost per unit? 2 lakh 95,000. You will divide by 9,500 beta 31.26. Next वाला बेटा 4133. When you do valuation as such guys, completed units, तो तुम्हारे को पता ही है बेटा क्या करना है? क्या करना है completed units? 9,200 units will be 100% in respect of both. So that will be 31.0526 plus 21.4133. How much will that be better? 680. When I do abnormal gain guys, remember abnormal gain is also 100% complete. So 100 into क्या करूँ directly? 31.0526 plus 21.4133. 5,000 2. Then beta closing work in progress. Closing work in progress beta will be 400 units material 100% complete, but labor and overhead 60%. So 240 into 21.4133. 561. It's okay beta. Guys, please stop talking better. Your input is 45,000 units, out of which normal loss beta is 2%, that is 900. You should have got an output of 44,100. इसमें से completed units कितने बेटा? 42,000. Closing work in progress beta is 1800 units. And then beta, the balancing figure will become abnormal loss, which is 300 units. The degree of completion given for scrapped units beta in the question will only apply to this. Online students beta, I was not in front of the screen, but yeah, right answers. Your statement of equivalent units, guys. And cost per unit. Stop your discussions, guys. Completed units will always have a 100% degree of completion, guys. That's 100%, 42,000. Normal loss beta will always have a 0 degree of completion. Abnormal loss degree of completion is given in the question, guys. 100% for material and 80%, guys, for labor and 60% for overheads. Closing work in progress also degree of completion is given. 100% for materials, guys, 50% for labor and 40% beta for overheads. All put together, guys, this will become 44,100. This was 43,140 and this was 42,900. Please check if you all got equivalent units as this beta. 44,100, 43,140 and 42,900. Ayan Nandini. Cost incurred में guys, basic raw material beta is going to cost you how much? 4,50,000. The other raw material that we introduced beta was 65,500. Labor में 90,800. Overheads 1,80,700. What do you deduct beta? Do you deduct scrap value both normal and abnormal loss or only normal loss? Only normal loss. And those scrap value of normal loss beta will be 900 units multiplied by 5 rupees, 4,500. So our effective cost beta will be 5,11,000 guys for material, 90,800 for labor and 1,80,700 for overheads. Once we do this beta, you can arrive at the cost per unit. Divide this by 44,100 units beta. 5873. How much for labor, guys? 1048. Overheads 4.2121, guys. This will be the amount of overheads. Are we clear, guys? Valuation beta, completed units. Completed units के लिए guys will write 42,000 units, everything at 100%. 11.5873 plus 2.1048 plus 4.2121. Can you tell me the answer, guys? 970. Abnormal loss, guys. 300 units of material will be at 100% beta. Labor beta will be 240 units at 2.1048 and overheads beta will be 180 units. How much is this beta? 4740. And then finally beta, closing work in progress 1800 units, material 100%, 11.5873. Labor ka beta 900 into 2.1048. Overheads beta would be 720 units into 4.2121. How much will this be? 25,784. This will be the amount of closing work in progress beta. Prepare process account. नाम क्या बेटा process का? Process B account. Two units introduced, guys. How many units? Material at 4,50,000, guys. To other materials, beta 65,500. To labor, beta, how much is the amount? 90,800. To overheads, beta 1,80,700. By normal loss, 900 units gets at 5 rupees per unit. 4,000. इसके बाद में बेटा we have arrived at units completed, that I will believe is process C beta, and then by abnormal loss, or you can also write this thing beta, finished goods account, तुम्हारी मर्जी, ठीक है? By abnormal loss and closing work in progress. Abnormal loss is 300 units, process C beta is 42,000 units, and closing work in progress is 1,800 units. In subka valuation we have just completed beta 25,784.47 7,51,976. To process B account, guys, 300 units valued at 4740. By cash 300 units valued at 2 rupees, so that is 600. By costing P&L account beta 41. Right answer, guys. Normal loss beta pura cash. Question, guys. Whenever we receive any input from the previous process and you are adding additional materials just such beta in the current process, and the degree of completion for those materials is not 100%, it only applies to materials that are being added in the current process. It does not apply to the amount of input that you receive from the previous process. So यहाँ पे if you look at the question, it says that the degree of completion for consumables beta is 80%. 80% can be the degree of completion only for the materials that you're going to add in the current process, guys. It cannot be the degree of completion for the materials that you've received from the previous process. They're assumed to be always 100% complete. We did not have this problem in the other questions, guys, because the degree of completion given for materials was 100%. Just say yesterday's beta, it was process B. It was not the first. ये process A में problem ही नहीं होता है बेटा. Process A is the start process. All of these issues come only in the subsequent processes. यहाँ पे बेटा process B था. In spite of that, I did not talk about that point because the degree of completion given for materials as such, guys, is how much? 100%. When the degree of completion for materials is 100%, that means both the materials that you're receiving from the previous process and the materials that you're adding in the current process are 100% complete. When they both have the same degree of completion, guys, there is no need to segregate. But अगर ऐसा आता है बेटा wherein the amount of degree of completion is not 100%, you will have to segregate into two materials, material 1 and material 2. Material 1 will be the amount of input that you're receiving from the previous process. Material 2 will be the additional materials that are being added in the current process. Logic simple है बेटा. Equivalent units are not going to remain same. If equivalent units are not going to remain same, I cannot compute cost per unit collectively. Just say yesterday in few questions we did labor and overheads collectively. There was this one question in which we did labor and overheads separately because the degree of completion was not same. So यहाँ पे अगर degree of completion for materials is also not same, you will have to divide the materials into two categories, material 1 and material 2. Material 1 will represent the input that you're receiving from the previous process, which is always 100% complete. Material 2 will be the materials that you're adding in the current process, to which the degree of completion, guys, given in the question will apply. तो अगर वो बोल रहा है consumables is 80%, guys, closing work in progress, it means material 1 is 100%, consumables beta would be 80%, labor and overheads जो भी वो दिया हुआ है. Undoubtedly in the subsequent processes there will be additional materials that are added. In case the degree of completion given for materials is not 100%, it only applies to the materials that are being added in that process. Any input that you're receiving from the previous process will always and always be This is where you will have to divide materials beta into two categories. Are we clear about this? Up next problem. Scrap value of normal loss, is it adjusted to arrive at cost per unit? We deduct scrap value of normal loss as such beta to compute cost per unit. What did we learn yesterday? From which element do we remove it? We remove it from. See guys, scrap is for material content. The material that you're receiving from the previous process and the material that you're adding in the current process, both of them are materials. It's not like only one is material, the other is not material as such beta. Guys, logical answer is to segregate it between both material 1 and material 2 guys, but for the sake of simplicity we directly deduct it from material 1 as significant component guys is always a material that is added in the first process. The additional materials that are added in the subsequent processes but are usually very less. That is the reason why we will deduct it. You do not have an option. Real life mein beta, when you become the cost accountant of a company guys, you use all of those techniques accurately and arrive at the cost per unit. Abhi ke liye you're supposed to deduct the entire scrap value from material 1. That is the input that you're receiving from the previous process. Are we clear about this? Yes or no guys? Are we understanding guys? Again, what's the difference between FIFO method and weighted average method? Under weighted average method, your cost per unit should be based on both the work that has been performed in the current month and the work that was performed in the previous month guys. Are we clear about this? That is why in computation of cost per unit guys, you take 100% units, that is including the work that was performed in the previous month, and in computation of expenditure incurred, you also take expenditure that was incurred in the previous month. Current month to aayega hi aayega वैसे भी. Under FIFO method guys, you do not take that into consideration, you take only current month. But because you are not including that guys, when you value completed units, you will have to segregate that completed units into two parts. How much was the expenditure already incurred in the previous month? How much is the expenditure that you are incurring in the current month? ये problem weighted average में क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? We already included that in the computation of cost per unit. So कोई problem नहीं रहेगा बाद में. So that is why we say weighted FIFO method में बेटा कोई extra step आता है बाद में. Are we clear guys? You use weighted average method whenever there is volatility in your expenditure. Otherwise, you prefer using FIFO method. That explanation can never change. Entities prefer using FIFO method when the prices are relatively stable. Entities prefer using weighted average method when the prices are volatile. That has nothing to do with process costing, guys. That will remain same everywhere. Is that clear, kids? The first thing that we do beta is compute the amount of normal loss and abnormal loss. The question is very clear guys, that normal loss is as a percentage of total input, that is including opening work in progress. Yes. What is the amount of opening work in progress that we have in this question? How many units? 8,000 units. Current month input kitna hai? Current month input beta is 1,82,000 units. Put together beta it's supposed to be 1,90,000 units. This is total input. Total input mein beta normal loss should be how much? Normal loss assault beta should be 5% guys, and that is 9,500. You can directly compare this with units scrapped and write the amount of abnormal losses 4,500 units. The question says units scrapped are 14,000 units. Alternatively, you can write like how we did in all the other questions, 1,80,500. इसमें से units completed कितने? 1,58,000. How much is closing work in progress? 18,000. So in दोनों का total beta is 1,76,000. We still have a deficit of how much? That will become your abnormal loss. This abnormal loss should be taken at the degree of completion that is given in the question beta. Abhi clear? Now, because this is FIFO method as such guys, you are supposed to compute cost per. ये question में ना बेटा weighted average method कर भी नहीं सकते. That is why I had to pick up 18 question. Why can't we? The bifurcation guys of opening work in progress is not given. Cost incurred. In order to compute cost per unit, I should know exactly how much is material component, how much is labor and overheads component out of that 75,000. They only said opening work in progress is valued at 75,000. वो 75,000 में से something should be material, something should be labor and overheads. That bifurcation is not given. If the bifurcation is not given, beta, there is no way that you can compute weighted average cost per unit. Weighted average cost के लिए वो bifurcation compulsory है. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है लंगूरो? Now when you present statement of equivalent units guys, it is important, abhi presentation wo hai, it is important beta that we show how much is the amount of finished product out of opening work in progress and how much is the finished product guys out of current month input. Material percentage units, labor and overheads, same ही है ना, labor and overheads, percentage in units. Our opening work in progress beta was 8,000 units. Our current month input beta was 1,82,000 units. Total input will become 1,90,000. Our total completed units कितने हैं बेटा? Our total completed units are 1,58,000. Out of opening work in progress कितना रहेगा? 8,000. ये bifurcation beta will not come under weighted average method. This will come only under opening, only under FIFO method. Out of current month input guys कितना रहेगा? जो highlighted portion तुम्हारे को बोला मैं ignore करो for computation of cost per unit. तुम लोग को लिखे ना, we should not include this बोल के, मालूम पड़ा बाद में वो लिखे ही नहीं बोल के. I should directly take balanced degree of completion for this beta. Isn't material already 100% complete? I will take 0 now. I should not take the amount that is already completed. I should only take current month work. Isn't the 60% completed? I will take 40%, 3,200. I'm not supposed to include that. Exam में वो 100 लिख के strike करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. You directly write balanced degree of completion. 0, 0, 40%, 3,200. Are you getting it? Current month input obviously beta will be at 100%. 1,50,000. Normal loss कितना है? 9,500. What should I write under degree of completion? Normal loss is always considered at 0 guys. Abnormal loss beta will be 4,500. How much will be the degree of completion guys? 100% for material beta and 80% for labor and overheads. Closing work in progress. How many units? 100% guys for material beta and labor and overheads. 12,000. समझ में आया presentation? Yes or no guys? Because this is FIFO method, we are only taking the amount of work that is being performed in the current month. Can you add the number of units better? I did it. 16,002. So 1,72,500 and 1,69,400. These are the number of units. Cost incurred mein guys. Should I take the cost incurred on opening work in progress also? Minder, what should, huh? Very good. Minus scrap value of normal loss. अरे इंद्र नौतन और मेरे गाड़ दो लो. कितना लिखूंगा बेटा scrap value of normal loss? 9,500 units at the rate of. वो क्वेश्चन में बोला बेटा to be adjusted out of direct material cost. He doesn't have to specify that. It is always adjusted out of direct material cost only. Yes or no kids? 47,000. Next labor and overheads के नीचे. Will you take expenditure already incurred on opening work in progress? No. Why? This is FIFO method. How much will this be guys? 5,10,900. पहले वाला बेटा 6,90,000. How much will be your cost per unit बेटा now? 4 rupees exact. ये वाला 3.0156. 5938. This will be your cost per unit guys. थोड़ा बहुत difference वो rounding off में आएगा बेटा. Number of units are in lakhs, so you might get a rounding off difference of 10 to 15 rupees. ठीक है? Do not cry later. Are we all clear about this guys? We are not including opening work in progress in number of units, neither in expenditure incurred in computation of cost per unit. But अभी जब valuation करोगे, you have to be careful. You have to divide your total number of units into two parts. 8,000 units out of opening work in progress. Current month input 1,50,000. That 8,000 also you will divide into two parts. How much is expenditure already incurred in previous month and how much is the expenditure that is being incurred in the current month. For current month you will take these cost per units. For previous month 75,000 already दिया हुआ है बेटा. Are we clear about this? कहाँ पे? 1,58,000 beta. How much is out of opening work in progress, kids? Out of opening work in progress beta is 8,000 units. This also you will divide into two parts beta. What is that? Expenditure already incurred, guys, in previous month. How much is the amount of expenditure already incurred in previous month beta? 75,000. This will be in respect of 100% material, guys. नहीं है ना degree of completion या है 100% material, guys, and 60% labor and overheads. What is the expenditure incurred in current month, guys, on this opening work in progress? It will be material 0%, guys. Labor and overheads 40%. So you will write 3,200 into 3.0159. All of you took 3.0159 only या 4 भी लिए? 4 भी लिए. ये कितना है बेटा? 9651. Relax, guys. ज़्यादा फ्री हो जा रहे हैं. Out of current month input, guys, you will write 1,50,000 units multiplied by जरा 3.01594 and 4 rupees है ना वो? How much will this be? 391. All put together beta. 11 lakh 42. Closing work in progress beta valuation. What are we going to write, guys? Material, guys, will be how many units beta? 18,000 units multiplied by 4 rupees. Labor and overheads, guys, will be 70%. So that is 12,600 units into 3.01594 to 4 li. Bold total amount 1,10,001. This will be the value of closing work in progress beta. Then abnormal loss, guys, how many units? 4,500 units multiplied by 4 rupees, guys. Labor and overheads 3,600 multiplied by 3.01594 beta. How much will that become? 857, guys. 28,857 beta will be the valuation of your abnormal loss. Please check if you all got these answers. Process A account, guys. Number of units and amount, number of units and amount. You're going to write two opening work in progress, guys. How many units? 8,000 units. Valued at? You first write all your details of expenses incurred, guys. Two materials beta in the current month. How many units did we introduce? At a cost of 7,37,000. Two labor beta, wages. How much is that? 3,40,600, guys. Two overheads beta, the amount is 1,70,300. By normal loss 9,500 units valued at 47,500. इसके बाद में बेटा you will arrive at the other values. Cost per unit कितना था? 7 rupees था ना. By, guys, abnormal loss. How many units beta abnormal loss? 4,500. By process B, guys, this 1,58,000. ये कितना था? 28,857. The amount of input to be transferred to the next process beta is 11,37,042 rupees. And then by closing work in progress beta would be कितने units? 18,000, 1,10,001 rupee. Match हो गया account? This question number 19, guys. They've given us following details are related to the work done in process 1 by XYZ company during the month of March. Opening work in progress 2,000 units. Material, labor, overheads. Materials introduced in the current process 38,000 units. बेटा direct labor and overheads. अभी पढ़ाई पे ध्यान दो बेटा. ये क्वेश्चन पे वो नहीं हुआ क्या पिछले वाला? अभी इस पे ध्यान दे, वो भी क्लियर करता हूँ. Units scrapped are given beta degree of completion. Closing work in progress degree of completion. In this question, guys, even if you want, you cannot use FIFO method. Opening work in progress ka degree of completion is not given. Unless they give us degree of completion for opening work in progress, we cannot use FIFO method. But sir, weighted average method. Weighted average method, anyways, we take everything at 100%. because you're supposed to include both work performed in the previous month as well as work performed in the current month. अलग लिखाया पढ़ाने के लिए, but ultimately are we not taking 100%? So unless they give us cost bifurcation, we cannot use weighted average method. जैसे यहाँ पे did he give us cost bifurcation of opening work in progress? 80,000 for material, 15,000 for labor, 45,000 for overheads. Only if this is given, we can compute weighted average cost per unit. If cost bifurcation is not given, we cannot use weighted average method. If degree of completion is not given, we cannot use FIFO method. If both of them are given, guys, we can use any method. That was question number 18. He not only gave us cost bifurcation of opening work in progress, he also gave us degree of completion. इसीलिए वो question use करके I've explained both weighted average method and FIFO method, guys. In this question, I cannot use FIFO method. Are we clear, beta? Units finished and transferred to process 2, guys, are 35,000 units. Normal loss is 5% of total input, including opening work in progress. Scrapped units will fetch 20 rupees per piece. You are required to prepare using average method all the following: statement of equivalent production, statement of cost, statement of distribution of cost. Statement of distribution of cost matlab valuation. We do that as valuation. Statement of cost matlab computation of cost per unit. We combine, guys, first and second bit in all the bits. Statement of equivalent units and statement of cost, we present it in a single statement only. So, guys, your opening work in progress beta is 2,000 units. Current month input beta is 38,000. Total amount beta is 40,000 units. What should be the amount of normal loss beta on this? 5%, 2,000. Actual units scrapped kitne beta? 3,000. That means abnormal loss will be 1,000 units. Out of this 38,000, guys, how many are completed units? Completed units beta are 35,000. Closing work in progress. Abnormal loss. Pay attention. ये तो लिख लो heading. Statement of equivalent units and statement of cost per unit. Statement of equivalent units and cost per unit. Valuation, guys, is very simple under weighted average method because you just have to directly multiply total number of units into cost per unit. Correct, beta Reeth? Input units, output units, beta you will write material percentage units, labor and overheads percentage and units. Pay attention, guys, all of you, stop writing. Opening work in progress kitne units hai beta? 2,000. Current month input beta is how many units? 38,000. Under weighted average method, guys, when you write completed units, there's absolutely no need for you to divide them into opening work in progress and current month input. You will directly write 35,000 and take everything at 100%. But sir, we never performed 100% work in the current month. Do not worry. We are computing average cost per unit. We are also including the work that was performed in the previous month. This is how you present in the examination. वो पढ़ाने के लिए बेटा I gave like that कि we will divide the opening into this parts like this बोल के कोई जरूरत नहीं है because ultimately when you club all of them beta, are you not including 100%? So you will directly write 100%. You are not going to bifurcate, guys. Are you understanding this? Yes or no, kids? Then beta you will take normal loss. How many units are normal loss? 2,000 units. कितना लेना degree of completion? 0%. Abnormal loss you should take degree of completion that is given in the question, guys. How much is the degree of completion for abnormal loss? 100% for material, guys, and 80% for labor and overheads. Closing work in progress, beta how many units? 2,000 units, 100% for material, guys, and 80% for labor and overheads. How do I compute my cost per unit beta after this? What should I take under expenditure incurred? Expenditure incurred, you will take two things beta. On opening work in progress already beta kitna kharch kare material? 80,000. How much for labor and overheads? 15,000 and 45,000. How much is the expenditure incurred in current month? 14 lakhs 80,000. How much is for labor and overheads? 3,59,000 and 10,77,000. So we are including both work that was performed in the previous month and the expenditure that was incurred, guys. How much is the scrap value of normal loss? You should only deduct scrap value of normal loss. 2,000 units multiplied by 20. That is how much, beta? 40,000. How much will be your expenditure incurred? 15 lakhs, 20,000 and 14 lakh. How much will be your average cost per unit? Exact 40 aa raha hai. 40 rupees and 40 again, beta. Copy, guys. Of completed units. Completed units, beta, you're directly going to multiply the total number of units. Kitne? 1 lakh? 35,000 units multiplied by 40 plus 40, guys, 80 rupees. So that will be 20. What's the valuation of, guys, closing work in progress? How many units? 2,000 into 40 for material, guys. For labor and overhead, 1,600 into 40. How much is that? 1,44,000. How much for abnormal loss, beta? Correct, guys. Process account mein, beta, you will write to opening work in progress, guys. How many units? 2,000 units at a total cost of 1,40,000. 2. Materials introduced, beta, in process 1. How many units? 38,000 at 14 lakh. 2. Labor, beta, how much is the amount? 3,59,000. 2. Overheads, 10,77,000. By normal loss, beta, is 2,000 units, 40,000. By abnormal loss, 1,000 units, beta, valued at 72,000. By process 2, 35,000 units valued at 28 lakhs. By closing work in progress, 2,000 units, 1,44,000. This is your process 1 account. Normal loss account, if you prepare, guys, entire amount will be by cash. Abnormal loss में by cash लिख के बाकी का you will transfer to P&L account. From the following information for the month of Jan 2019, prepare process 3 cost accounts. Opening work in progress in process 3, beta, is 1,600 units at 24,000 rupees. Transfer from processor 2 is 55,400 units at 6,23,250. Transferred to warehouse. Finished goods 52,200. Closing work in progress is 4,200 units. Scrapped as 600. Direct materials added in process 3. Direct wages and production overheads. Degree of completion for material, opening stock, closing stock, scrap, guys. For material, it is not given as 100%. Because the degree of completion for material is not 100%, guys, what do you understand? Materials should be segregated into 2 categories, but material 1 and material 2. The degree of completion for material 1 will always be 100%, guys. It will not be the degree of completion that is given here. The other part, new part that we see here, beta, is normal loss is given as a percentage of production. Underline that. Normal loss in the process, beta, is as a percentage of production. When they use this word, guys, it means opening work in progress plus current month input minus closing work in progress. Agar production word use kar raha hai, beta, it is as a percentage of what? Opening plus current month input minus closing work in progress. That is how we are going to compute, guys, our normal loss. The method of inventory valuation is not specified, beta, here. Pragati, which method are we supposed to use? We can use any of the methods. Excellent, beta. How are we going to use weighted average method? Cost bifurcation for opening work in progress is not given. We cannot use weighted average method. The only method that can be used here, beta, is FIFO method. Weighted average के लिए बेटा they should tell us how much out of this is material 1, how much is material 2, how much is labor and overheads. Only then you will be able to use weighted average method. जैसे next question में बेटा degree of completion नहीं दिया हुआ है for opening work in progress but cost bifurcation is given. Which method will you use? Weighted average. Next question में वो खुद ही बोल दिया बेटा material 1, material 2 because we have to use weighted average method. They have to give bifurcation of material also, no? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है guys? Write down बेटा पहले point. So यहाँ पे कितना हो जाएगा बेटा? Opening work in progress कितना है? Current month input 55,400 minus closing work in progress बेटा कितना हो जाएगा बेटा ये 52,800. इसको प्रोडक्शन बोलेंगे बेटा. इसमें से बेटा how much should be the amount of normal loss? Normal loss guys is 5% of this बेटा, so that'll be 2. If you want you can deduct this guys, but then याद रखना ये जो amount आ रहा है कितना ये, इसको सिर्फ दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करोगे, completed units and abnormal loss or gain. Do not again write closing work in progress because you already deducted it. तुम इसको अगर तीन पार्ट में डिवाइड करे तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा बेटा. Did you not deduct closing work in progress already? How many are completed units? 52,200. What will be the amount of abnormal gain? Abnormal gain balancing figure beta 2040. You can directly compute abnormal gain also guys by comparing scrapped units. Actual number of units scrapped given in the question are how much? 600. Whereas normal loss is 2,640. So abnormal gain will be 2040. समझ में आ रहा है? Copy this guys. I'll give one more note and after that you will start preparing statement of equivalent units. Now if you talk about degree of completion guys, opening work in progress, closing work in progress and scrap. यहाँ पे scrap का degree of completion is absolutely useless. Why beta? There is no abnormal loss. We only have material 1 guys is always 100%. Doesn't matter guys whether it is opening, closing or scrap. Material 2 is a material that you are adding in the current process and you will have to take the degree of completion that is given in the question guys. 80, 70 and 100. Labor and overheads guys, I'm combining 60%, 50% and 70%. Copy this degree of completions. Let's not forget beta that you are doing it under FIFO method. And you have to divide the materials into two categories beta. कितनों का equivalent units हो चुका है, not cost per unit, only equivalent units. Opening work in progress beta is 1600 units. Current month input is लावण्या नहीं हुआ है 55,400. Completed units will have to be segregated into two parts guys. How much is out of opening work in progress? Out of opening work in progress you have 1600 and then out of current month input. Current month input se beta it is 50,600. And then guys you will write normal loss. Normal loss is how many units? 2,640. Abnormal gain beta will you write positive or negative? Negative 2,040. And then closing work in progress guys 4,000. Materials guys 1 and 2 you should take only balanced degree of completion for opening work in progress because this is FIFO method. Labor and overheads. Material opening work in progress is 100% complete, so 0. Compulsory. For material 2 guys you will take 20% because 80% is already done. For labor and overheads you will take 40% because 60% is already done. For current month input guys everything will be at 100%. So that will be 50,600. Normal loss is always at 0%. Abnormal gain beta is always and always at 100%. Closing work in progress, material 1 beta would be 100% and this would be how much beta? 70%. That will be and 2100. The sum total guys of equivalent units beta would be 52,000. Huh? 52,000. Next. 820. Next. This will be your equivalent units guys. 52,760, 51,820 and 51,300. Please check if you all got the same answers guys. Please take current month cost incurred beta and arrive at cost per unit. Cost incurred beta कितना है? 6,23,000. This is for material 1. This is 2,12,400. This will be 96,420 plus 56,400. Whenever you have two types of materials beta, scrap value of normal loss कहाँ से deduct करो बोला मैं? Material 1 or material 2? Because it's a significant component, you're always going to deduct it from material 1 only guys. Correct ही बोला. Minus scrap value of normal loss. 2640 into 5 beta 13,200 minus करना है. What will be the net cost beta? 6 lakhs 10,050, 2,12,400, 9656, 1,52,820. Divide this by the number of units that you've written above guys and write the cost per unit. शुरू करो. 5627 0988 2.9789. Please check guys if you all got the same values. Completed units guys are 52,200. We are dividing that into two parts. Out of opening work in progress, how many units? 1,600. Out of current month input, 50,600. This out of opening work in progress also you'll divide into two parts. How much is expenditure already incurred? Expenditure already incurred beta is 24,000. 6,23,000 करंट मंथ इनपुट है वो. डाउट नहीं आता रहे ऐसे. Presence of mind. Expenditure incurred in current month. In the current month guys, how much expenditure are you incurring beta? On material 1 0, material 2 beta 20%, labor and overheads 40%. Therefore guys, this will be equal to 320 units multiplied by 4.0988 plus 640 units into 2.9789. कितना है बेटा ये? 3218. अरे तारे समय पे. Here beta how much will be the cost beta? 50,600 multiplied by 11.5627 plus 4.0988 plus how much will that be guys? 20. Now you can add all of them beta and that will become the cost of your completed units. 9 lakh. Total cost beta will be equal to 24,000 guys plus 3,218 plus 9,43,204. कितना है? 70,004. This will be the cost of completed units. You will have to also value guys abnormal gain and value closing work in progress. Abnormal gain, everything will be at 100%. 2040 units multiplied by that. 2,040 units. You will directly multiply 2,040. Everything will be 100% complete. 11.5627, 4.0988 guys and 2.9789. How much will that be guys? 38,026 guys. Abnormal gain. Closing work in progress. But how many units? 4,200. Material 1 100% complete. 4,200 into 11.5627. मैं नहीं लिखने वाला हूँ. Material 2 guys, 2940 units into 4.0988. Labor and overheads बेटा 2,100 units into 2.9789. Total टैली हो जाता वो 874 से टैली होता. अब नॉर्मल गेन वो तरफ आएगा ना. मुंह बंद रख, बात कर रहे ना बड़े लोग. वो 2 रुपीज. अच्छा हाँ 4 रुपीज. 66,000. ये 870 आ रहा है बेटा. स्ट्राइक करके 874 लिख रहा हूँ जस्ट टू टैली दी अकाउंट्स. ऑलराइट. प्रोसेस 3 अकाउंट बेटा. To opening work in progress guys. How many units guys? Valued at 24,000. To process 2 guys. We have received how many units from process 2? 55,400 at 6,23,250. To materials guys. Direct materials beta 2,12,400. To direct wages 96,420. To production overheads are 56,400 by normal loss 2640. ये 13,200 था ना. ये to abnormal gain 200 units, sorry 2040 units at 38,026 by completed units FG को जाएंगे बेटा 52,200 valued at 9,70,422 by closing work in progress 66,874. Prepare normal loss and abnormal gain account guys. Normal loss account guys. What are we going to write? To process 3 account 2640 units at 13,200, but we are actually selling only 600 units, so that will be at 5 rupees 3,000. Baki ka where will you adjust? The balance will get adjusted against abnormal gain beta 2040 at 5 rupees, that will be 10,200. And then prepare beta abnormal gain account. Kitna the valuation? 38,026. To normal loss, how much got adjusted against normal loss? 10,200. To P&L account beta 27,800. And please check if you all got the same answers. The next 3 questions that we have guys are based on inter-process profit. That is the amount of, if inventories are transferred from one process to another process guys, at cost plus markup. You're not transferring inventories from one process to another process at cost. You're going to transfer them at cost plus a certain amount of markup. Are we clear? Tino questions वही है guys. I'll directly explain the concept along with the question. Look at question number 27. A Limited produces product X which passes through 2 processes. Before it is completed and transferred to finished stock. The following data guys is available. Relate to October 1981. In process 1 we have an opening stock of 7,500 rupees. This direct material of 15,000 guys, and then there is direct wage of 11,200. The factory overheads of 10,500, and then better there is closing stock of 3,700. Process 1 being the first process guys, there will never be any amount of profit that is included in the cost of or in the stocks of process 1. See, the whole problem, guys, of transferring inventory from one process to other process at cost plus profit markup is that if the inventory is lying unsold with the other process, there is profit booked by one department which is still included in the inventory of the other department. The organization as a whole as such beta did not make any profit. Let's say beta that there is department 1 which is parts, there is department 2 that is there. Department 1 bought inventory at 10 rupees, transferred it to department 2 at 15 rupees. So department 1 made a profit of, department 1 has booked that profit. As far as his account is concerned, beta, he will show that opening stock or inventory received is 15 rupees. He will show, if he's not selling that inventory, he will show a closing stock of 15 rupees. He's not booked any profit. Parth here has booked a profit of 5 rupees, beta. Dhairya here has booked a 0 profit. Organization ka profit kitna hua? Which is not the correct answer because the organization never made any profit. Merely by transferring inventories internally as such, beta, you can never make any profit. अगर ऐसा हुआ तो बेटा every organization will keep rotating inventories as such, guys, circular transactions within their own organizations and start reporting profits. Are we clear, guys? So if there's any amount of unrealized profit, our job is to eliminate that, remove it. You are not supposed to include that in the profits of the entire organization. समझ में आया क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं? This problem will not arise in process 1. Why? They are not receiving inventory from any other process internally. It is only process 2 and the next department beta finished goods that will be receiving inventories as such beta internally. So that is why there will not be any amount of profit that is included, guys, in process 1. They've given us all the details, guys. Process 1 ke opening stock, direct materials, direct wages, factory overheads and closing stock. Process 2, guys, we have opening stock, direct material, direct wages, factory overheads, closing stock, and they've given us how much is the amount of profit included in opening stock. So this opening stock that is being shown, guys, in process 2 at 9,000 rupees, that includes a profit of 1,500. All right. Finished stock का amount दिया हुआ है बेटा. Output of process 1 is transferred to process 2 at 25% profit on transfer price. Output of process 2 is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. Stocks in process are valued at prime cost. We cannot question the question. When they say it is valued at prime cost, it has to be taken at prime cost. Finished stock is valued at the price at which it is received from process 2. Sales during the period are rupees 1,40,000. You're required to prepare process cost accounts and finished goods accounts showing the profit element at each stage. ये अगर profit element at each stage नहीं होता बेटा, the answer would have been very simple. But because they're asking us to show profit element at each stage, maybe simple here. It's just that you need to understand it properly. पहले समझ में आया what is the different point about this question? Internal transfers, guys, are being made at cost plus markup. That's the only difference, guys, between this and the other questions. All right. Now, साथ में लिखना शुरू करो. Department 1 बेटा purchases 10 rupees by transfers to department 2 15 rupees. Made a profit of how much? 5 rupees. Department 2, guys. Department 1 se transfers came at 15. Let's say department 1 did not do anything. This is lying as closing stock. 15 rupees. Obviously, department 2 beta will report it as a closing stock at 15 rupees and not at 10 rupees. Yes or no, kids? What's the amount of profit that department 2 will book? 0, guys. As far as the entire organization is concerned, guys, total company beta, by net profit of department 1 कितना है? 5 rupees. Department 2 का net profit beta 0. So did the company as a whole, guys, make a profit of 5 rupees? No. इसको हम लोग reverse करते हैं बेटा by something called as stock reserve, or if you've termed it as loading, you can call it as loading. This is the stock reserve, guys, included in closing stock. Stock reserve, guys, is the amount of unrealized profit. The closing stock at department 2, guys, is being valued at 15 rupees, but the correct cost of department 2's closing stock is only 10 rupees. I have left to bring it down from 15 rupees to 10 rupees. How do I do that? Reduce the value of closing stock by 5 rupees. Reducing closing stock value matlab reducing your profits. Are we clear, guys? ये stock reserve कहाँ पे जाएगा? Balance sheet में, guys, when you show your inventory, you will show stock 15 minus stock reserve 5 rupees, and your net inventory beta will be shown at a cost of only 10 rupees. So the profit as a whole beta will only be 0 here. समझ में आ रहा है? I'm just giving a simple example to understand better. The ones who are done with accounts will know all of this already. We did branch accounts. We also did, guys, consolidation. We did amalgamation. Everywhere there used to be unrealized profit. Department 1 beta does nothing. 2 purchases 0, transfers 0, sab kuch 0. By transfers also nil, guys. So obviously their profit would be 0. Department 2 as such, guys, has an opening stock of how much? Kitna hai opening stock? Continuation of the previous example, beta. 15 rupees. Let's say beta department 2 beta sells it for 18 rupees. What is the amount of profit that department 2 will book? 3 rupees. What exactly is the profit made by the company? 3 rupees or 8 rupees? Though the inventory is appearing at 15 rupees as such, guys, in our books, we know the correct cost of that inventory is only, अगर ये year 1 year 2 नहीं होता बेटा, if you combine both the years, we bought inventory at 10 rupees, we sold inventory at 18 rupees, we made a profit of, so the correct profit that is made by the company is 8 rupees, guys, and not 3 rupees. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? So that is why, guys, instead of booking a total profit of only 3 rupees, we are going to reverse the stock reserve that we provided for last year. Last year वो unrealized profit था, current year में realize हो चुका है बेटा. You're going to take that 3 rupees, add another 5 rupees and book a net profit of how much? Are we clear about this? ये दोनों accounts बना, वो statement लिखाता हूँ. तो वो कैसा आता है बेटा? ऐसे P&L account में you will write by net profit बेटा, booked by whom? Department 1 0, department 2 कितना? And then I write beta by stock reserve. Last year जो create किए थे, guys, we are now reversing it 5 rupees so that the net profit booked by the organization is how much? 8 rupees. ये जरूरत नहीं है बेटा पढ़ाना, but I just had to tell you what's the concept of unrealized profit. What is unrealized profit? Inventory is being transferred by one department to another department at cost plus markup, but the inventories are still lying unsold. This is where beta there will be unrealized profit. Profit is booked by one department, but as far as the organization is concerned, it has not yet been realized. कब realize होगा वो? अगले साल, as and when the inventories are sold. Are we clear about this? Now ask beta what's it out. बाकी के लोग कॉपी करो. If it is happening in the same year as such, beta, there's no unrealized profit. You will not create stock reserve. Unrealized profit is only and only in respect of inventories lying in hand, guys. Department 1 transferred to Department 2. Department 2 also sold it to an outsider, beta, kai ka unrealized. Everything has been realized. If you're terming something as unrealized, it is bound to occur in 2 different periods. Otherwise, it is not unrealized, it is realized. समझ में आ रहा है बेटा? Department 1 transferred, guys. Inventory as such, beta, let's say to Department 2 in the month of April. April में ही Department 2 बेच दिया, guys. Is it unrealized or realized profit? Why the hell will you do all of this nonsense, beta? Let's say in the month of April as such, beta, Yogita is running one department. She purchases inventory at 10 rupees, transfers it to Pratham, who's running another department, beta, at 15 rupees. गुस्से में देख रहा है क्या रे प्रथम? मैं क्या खरीदूं उससे बोल के? हाँ. Pratham, guys, is selling the inventory in the same month, guys, in the outside market at 18 rupees. Collectively, beta, they as a unit made a profit of how much? 8 rupees. Proud of you, guys. Are we clear, beta? Yogita made a profit of 5 rupees. Pratham made a profit of 3 rupees. But collectively, beta, the total profit will be 8. There will be no unrealized profits. Are we clear about this? Yes, very good. तेरा डाउट क्लियर हो गया श्रीनिवास? तू साले डाउट छोड़ के उन पर ध्यान दे रहा है. समझ में आया नहीं आया? वो प्रथम को सताना है बोल के रोज रिक्वेस्ट आता बेटा, इसलिए योगिता देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग विद यू, ठीक है बेटा? हाँ, जस्ट बिकॉज आई एम लिंकिंग यू टू हिम, यू विल बी थिंकिंग ऐसा क्या करी बोल के. मैं प्रथम को समझ में नहीं आया ये भी, बट एनीवेज गाइस, are we all clear about this? How do you compute the amount of net profit as such, beta? Is अभी just for your understanding, whenever the organization is preparing their overall P&L account as such, beta, every year there will be both. There will be some amount of profit already included in the amount of opening stock. There will be some amount of profit already included in the amount of closing stock. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Undoubtedly, there's going to be both better. ये example इसलिए दिया ताकि समझ में आए how things are working, guys. It's not like in real life, बेटा one department will work only in 1 year, the other department will work in another year. वापस इसका yearly break है बोल के. मेरा टाइम आ गया हो गया तू जा अभी तू बेच बोल के. Are we clear about this? So you will book all the profits, department 1, department 2, department 3 जितने भी है बेटा. Whatever is the amount of stock reserve included in closing stock, we write it in the debit side. Why do we write it on the debit side? This is the amount of profit that must have been included in these departmental profits, which the organization as a whole better never. And we write better buy stock reserve on opening stock as such better on the credit side. Why? This is the amount of profit that we reversed in the last year. Last year के लिए unrealized था बेटा, current year it has been realized. Are we clear? ये जो है बेटा रिवर्स कर रहे हो, at some point it will become realized, so that will go to the credit side because that will no longer form part of departmental profits in the next year. Though it is not forming part of departmental profits, guys, you're still supposed to include it in the overall profit. Are we clear? ये हो गया ना, ऊपर का P&L अकाउंट बना दिया ना, ये जनरल P&L बोल के लिखो. This is just format बोल के लिखना. Now let us look at this question better. Question number 27. I've already read the question, guys. You know that the inventories are being transferred from one department to another department, better at cost plus markup. एक problem है question में, it says that closing stock is valued at prime cost, but then we are not supposed to question the question, guys. Are we clear? If they say it is valued at prime cost, we'll value it prime cost. Problem क्या है valuing it at prime cost? We are not including overheads. Overheads are also manufacturing expenses, guys, and by default, better whether it is marginal costing or whether it is absorption costing, we still include overheads. Under marginal costing, we include only variable manufacturing overheads. Under absorption costing, beta, we include both variable and fixed manufacturing overheads. Now, this question, beta, I'll follow the incorrect presentation first, 27th question, and then we'll do the correct presentation. Incorrect presentation is required, guys, to understand the correct presentation concept. Yes, beta. वरना वो बाद में समझ में नहीं आएगा बेटा, if I directly present the correct presentation. All right. There's only one question, better. Next wala question is exactly fun. Process 1 account, guys. Now pay attention. Then इसी on करवाना please. मैं नाम भूल गया रे हीरो में. कृष्ण हमारे. Opening stock, guys, in process 1 is 7,500. Amount of direct materials, guys, is 15,000. The amount of direct wages, beta, is 11,200. There is factory overheads, guys, but then I will just want to add expenses still here. Why am I doing it? I will tell you in the correct presentation as such, beta. Prime cost. 2 prime cost, kitna hai? 33,000. To this, beta, you will add नहीं opening stock ऊपर already कर चुका बेटा minus closing stock, guys, that will be 3,700. यहाँ से instead of writing buy closing stock on the credit side, guys, here I'm writing minus. समझ में आएगा ये? Yes or no, guys? This will become prime cost of units transferred. क्या हुआ चिराग? Be careful बेटा. हाँ. The prime cost of units transferred, guys, is 30,000 rupees. Are we clear about this? After that, beta, Suchir, what are the amount of factory overheads? 10,500 rupees, guys, is the amount of factory overheads. Yes. So what is the total cost of units transferred, guys? Are you all following? The cost of goods transferred, beta, is 40,500. These inventories as such, guys, are being transferred to the next process, beta, that is process 2 at a markup of how much? Markup, beta, is 25% on transfer price, guys. That means cost should be how much? 25% on transfer price, guys. Cost should be 75% beta of transfer price. So मेरा transfer price बेटा कितना हो जाएगा? That 40,500 guys is 75%. Are you all following? कितना हो गया बेटा ये? 54,000. What is the amount of profit booked by process 1? 13,500. This is the amount of profit that is booked by process 1. Any doubt in this? कौन में आया guys? I've written all the prime costs first guys, then I've added the amount of factory overheads guys, and then whatever is the net cost of goods better, on that we are adding a markup and then transferring the inventories guys to the next process. समझ में आ गया बेटा ये? Next बेटा process 2. Daksh, help me with the calculations बेटा. Just helping you be a little active बेटा. तेरे दोस्त बोल रहे थे तेरे को सिर्फ सोना आता बोल के क्लास में. Cool. Opening stock. How much better process 2? 9,000. Next. Direct material. 15,750. Direct wages. 11,250. Will you write factory overheads guys, or are you going to write anything else? We will write prime cost. Yes or no guys? Varsha, right better? You start better now. Continue. How much is the amount of prime cost? 30? Did you calculate or कोई बोला बोल के सुन के बोल दी? You calculated? अरे I'm seeing you with the calculator अभी first time बेटा सुबह से. To prime cost बेटा एक बार बेटा बाकी सब लोग रॉन्ग आंसर्स बोलना शुरू करो प्लीज, ठीक है? समझ में आ रहा है ना? आई वांट टू सी गाइस कि क्या चल क्या रहा है बोल के. प्राइम कॉस्ट बेटा अमाउंट इज हाउ मच? 30. अभी करेक्ट बोलो रे बेवकूफ, लिख रहा हूं मैं. 36,000 गाइस. नेक्स्ट बेटा व्हाट शुड आई राइट हियर? तेरा नाम वर्षा है? हाँ, जूते खाएंगा बेटा. सृष्टि, हाँ संभाल के रख. बोल बेटा. 4,500. Do you think we're missing something? Yes guys. कहाँ ध्यान है बेटा तुम लोग का? Process 1 से we have transferred an inventory of 50. वो लगा पिछले क्वेश्चन में हीरो डायरेक्ट मटेरियल डायरेक्ट वेजेस, काम खत्म करो, ऐड करके छोड़ दो. दिमाग तो लगाना ही नहीं है, मालूम था पहले से. बोल रहे क्यों नहीं फिर? To process 1 guys, 54,000. Whenever we talk about a subsequent process guys, it includes inventory that is also received from the previous process. 90,000 guys. Now closing stock beta 4,500. This will become what beta? Prime cost of units transferred. Are you all following? How much is that beta? 85,000. Well beta next Varsha. Factory overheads how much? इस दोनों को ऐड करूंगा तो क्या आएगा? उसको क्या बोलते हैं? 90,000 बोलते सर. यहाँ पे क्या लिखो? 290,000. Cost of goods transferred. Now tell me beta, what is the markup? तेरा नाम वर्षा है? जब करेक्ट आंसर बोलना रहता तब तो याद नहीं आता तुम्हारे को. 20% markup है बेटा. So can you calculate and tell me what is the amount of transfer price here? $1,12,500 by FG account के साथ बेटा. You know that the markup is 20% on transfer price. It is not 20% on cost. So your cost beta will be how much? So proud of you beta. 80% of transfer price. मैं झूठ बहुत ज़्यादा बोलता हूँ. Transfer price will be equal to 90,000 divided by 80%. How much is that? So what is the profit booked by process 2? The amount of profit beta is 22,500. This is the amount of profit booked by process 2. Are we clear about this guys? Yes or no beta? Next. Archita, right? बोल बेटा. Finished goods account. लेके नहीं आ रहा. वही बोल के next. सुनो गधो. Finished goods account बेटा. बोल क्या लिखो? वेरी गुड. पहले ओपनिंग स्टॉक लिख लूं बेटा. टू प्रोसेस टू guys. How much inventory? 1,12,500. Next बेटा. टू डायरेक्ट. गाइस नहीं है तो नहीं है ना बेटा. एक्सपेंसेस माइनस क्लोजिंग स्टॉक करो ना यार. क्या करूं मैं. Isn't that finished goods department guys? That means it's a warehouse. हाँ या ना बेटा. 11,250. How much will be left बेटा. 1,23,000. ये हो जाएगा अपना फाइनल COGS. Yes or no guys? What is the markup बेटा here? Very good बेटा. Sales 1,40,000. How much will be the amount of profit booked by this department? This is the amount of profit booked by this department. Are we clear about this? So if I look at the overall P&L account as such guys, process 1 booked a profit. Process 1 booked a profit of 13,500. Process 2 booked a profit of, ये पूरा incorrect presentation है. Process 2 booked a profit of 22,500. Finished goods department बेटा booked a profit of 16,000. There was unrealized profit included in opening stock. Stock reserve guys included in opening stock. Process 2 के opening stock में बेटा how much was included? Shouldn't I write opening stock wala stock reserve on the credit side? Finished goods department 8,250. I'm also supposed to write 2 stock reserve guys included in closing stock. I do not know that. I have to calculate it. You do not know guys. I do not know. We cannot directly calculate like this. देखते कि मेरे को मालूम है बोल के. You will have to calculate this amount of unrealized profit guys. Once we get that, we will know what is the actual net profit. अब जैसे if you look at the closing stock that is lying with process 2 beta, it is 4,500. This is the amount of closing stock. But don't you think beta this 4,500 also includes 54,000? Part of 54,000. That part of 54,000 also includes profit booked by department 1. Shouldn't there be some amount of profit that is included guys in the closing stock of process 2? Same way beta, there will be some amount of profit included in the closing stock of finished goods department. यहाँ तक समझ में आया सबको? Yes or no kids? Copy करो बेटा. Once you copy this, I'll show the correct present. Now guys, the correct presentation beta. For this you will be needing the incorrect presentation. Question में देखो बेटा, it says profit element at each stage. दिख रहा है? Please underline that guys. Mark it as important. This means we are supposed to disclose how much is the amount of profit markup beta that is included. Question में देखो मतलब बेटा 27th वाले में last sentence में profit element at each stage देखा. We are supposed to disclose how much is the amount of profit guys that is included in the amounts that are being reported here guys. And how do we disclose that amount of profit? Process 1 में कुछ आएगा नहीं guys. Process 1 में guys, because there's nothing that is being received from the previous process, there is not going to be any profit element in any of those expenses. Final stage में profit आएगा, that is the amount of profit that they have booked. So we are now going to divide the amount column that we have written before into 2 parts called as cost and profit. जो भी पहले process account बनाए बेटा, we are going to write the same process account, but we are going to divide that into 2 more columns called as cost and profit. ये अमाउंट कॉलम जो है बेटा, इसको मैं 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड कर रहा हूँ. The amount column we are going to exactly copy beta from the previous question, from the previous presentation. What is the amount of opening stock guys? 7,500. 2 direct materials guys, 15,000. 2 direct wages, 11,200 beta. यहाँ तक guys we got prime cost which was 33,700. From this I'm going to deduct closing stock guys, which is 3,700. I will get prime cost of units transferred 30,000. Then we wrote 2 factory overheads beta. The total amount was 10,500 guys. You got units, cost of goods transferred. Cost of goods transferred guys is 40,500. To profit that we booked on this beta was how much? 13,500. The total amount beta would be 54,000. Here beta by process 2 guys, we know that the inventory got transferred at 54,000. Are you all following? I have just written that amount column as such beta abhi. ये जो opening stock है guys, do you think there's any amount of profit markup included that is booked internally? Why? It is the first department. That is why there is no profit element included. समझ में आ रहा है बेटा यश? So this entire 7,500 I will write in the cost column, nothing in the profit column. Next beta, Yash, the amount that you're spending for direct materials, 15,000. Should I write that under profit column or should I write that under cost column? Guys, whenever we spend money and we buy something from outside, guys, it is not our profit, it is our cost. Unless you receive 100 rupees and book it as profit. So that 15,000 beta, you will write it as cost. Direct wages beta is also your cost. This prime cost is entirely cost beta, there's no profit element. In this closing stock also, there is no profit element. समझ में आ रहा है क्या लिख रहा हूँ बेटा? अरे रे रे वो 10,500 नीचे लिखने का 10,500 guys. Till here beta there is no profit markup. ये जो profit booked है guys, this will directly go to your profit column. This will not go to your cost column. Process 1 है बेटा, that is why we do not have any profit element included. वापस बोल रहा हूँ. So ये जो 54,000 है बेटा, as far as this is concerned, for the entire organization cost is 40,500 and the profit element included in that beta is 13,500. For the entire organization guys, the profit element is 13,500. Any doubt in this part? Now guys, process 2. Process 2 में बेटा again you will write amount column, you will divide that into two parts, cost and profit. यहाँ पे बेटा you have to be a little careful. Now first forget cost and profit, tell me the account that you have copied already. To opening stock 9,000, to process 1 54,000, to direct materials 15,750, to direct wages यहाँ तक का total. From this you've deducted what? How much is that? 85,000. Two factory overheads. Cost of goods transferred. How much is the amount of profit booked by this division? ये कितना बोले बेटा? 90,000. The amount of profit booked as such beta was 22,500. Correct kids? By finished goods account guys, this was transferred at 1,12,000. Now, ये जो opening stock है guys, is this entirely cost to the entire organization or is there any profit element included? How much is the amount of profit element included in this? 15. क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ है, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. वो देखो बेटा प्रोसेस 2 के कॉलम में guys, the amount of unrealized profit included in opening stock. Can you see that? लास्ट में बेटा प्रोसेस 2 के कॉलम में नीचे क्वेश्चन में सबसे लास्ट वाला अमाउंट कितना है? 1500 दिख रहा है अभिलाष? 1,500 is the amount of profit that is included in that. Is such better. The amount of cost here guys would be 7,500. Process 1 से जो inventory आ रहा है बेटा 54,000, is that entirely cost to the entire organization or is there a profit element included in it? How much is the amount of profit element included? 13,500. The cost of that beta is 40,500 to the entire organization. Direct wages जो 15, direct material beta 15,750. Will there be any profit markup included in that? I'll write 15. I'll write 15,750 entirely in cost column. Direct wages beta directly in cost column. Now till this point guys, 90,000. Profit included is 15,000. Cost is how much? 75,000. अमाउंट 90,000 है, इसका कॉस्ट कितना है बेटा 75,000, प्रॉफिट कितना है इसमें इंक्लूडेड 15,000। ये जो क्लोजिंग स्टॉक है बेटा, वी नो दैट द अमाउंट ऑफ दैट इज 4,500, कैन वी डू दिस प्रोपोर्शनेटली? It will be 4,500 into 75 divided by 90, guys, 3750, and this will be 4,500 into 15 by 90 beta. This is how we compute the amount of unrealized profit included in closing stock. So though beta for department 2 or process 2, it is costing 4,500. As far as the entire organization is concerned, the cost of that is only 3,750. There's a profit markup of how much included in that? Profit of 750 included. The cost is 3,750. Are we all clear about this? Remove 3,750, guys, from 75,000. What is the cost to the entire organization without yawning, beta Abdullah? 71,250. Profit. ये जो 85,500 है ना बेटा, this is cost to department 2. The same thing for the entire organization is costing only 71,250. ऐसे कैसे हुआ सर? Obviously it includes profit of process 1. Are we clear about this? Factory overheads, obviously I will write only under cost column, nothing better under profit column. In दोनों का total बेटा, this will become 75,750, 14,250. Where do you think I should write 22,500? Entirely under profit. So guys, यहाँ तक profit कितना हो गया? 36,750. Cost is 75,750, 1,12,000. तो ये जो ट्रांसफर हो रहा है बेटा 1,12,500, this is costing the entire company only 75,750. The profit markup included in that till this point is 36,750. This 36,750 is not just the amount of profit booked by process 1, it also includes the amount of profit booked by process 2. दोनों का cumulative profit till this point beta is 36,650 after adjusting the amount of unrealized profit included in closing stock. वो सब हटा के, this is only in respect of the inventory that is getting moved forward. Are we clear about this? Yes or no beta? Abhi finished goods account, last account. I know it is different, guys. That is why I spent so much time on this question, explaining the incorrect presentation first. Over the years, I've realized that's the only way of explaining the correct presentation properly. Directly correct presentation creates confusion कि कहाँ से amounts आ रहे बोल के. Now, this amount column, guys, cost column and profit column. Can you tell me how much is the amount of opening stock? How much is the amount of input received from process 2? दोनों का total was 1 lakh. Minus closing stock is, how much is the cost of goods sold? How much is the sales value? 1 lakh. How much is the amount of profit made by this department? 16,000. Following. ये column अपन already लिख चुके थे, हाँ या ना बेटा? As far as the opening stock is concerned, guys, how much is the amount of profit included in that? 8,000 given in the question. Yes or no? How much is the cost for this? ये जो 1,12,500 है बेटा, what this the cost to the company is 75,750. What is the profit included in that? 75,750, 36,750. Total कितना हो गया? 90,045. Now, if the amount is 1 lakh, 35,000, cost is 90,000, profit element included in that beta is how much? 45,000. ये जो अपना closing stock है guys, this is 11,250. What do you think beta this will be proportionately? Into 90 by 135, 7,000, and here beta into 45 by 135. The amount of profit included, guys, in that is 3,750, and this is how much? 7,000. I got the amount of unrealized profit included in closing stocks of both process 2 as well as finished goods. ये कितना है बेटा unrealized profit? 3,750. And here beta the amount of unrealized profit is how much? Just for our understanding, 750 and 3750. Can you tell me how much is the amount of profit, guys? Correct. This should be the actual profit made by the organization. But ये exam में नहीं करने वाले अपन P&L account. This is just for your understanding. The actual profit made by the company is how much? 57,500. Are you all following? Now, guys, what is the cost of this? 82,500. Can you deduct that with a 41,250? Where do I write, guys, this profit? Profit column. Can you add the profit? So the inventory that is sold by the company for 1,40,000 has an effective cost of how much? And the company has made a profit of on that. वो जो cost column है ना बेटा, this is from the viewpoint of the entire company. The inventory is effectively costing the entire company beta 82,500 and we made a profit of 57,500 on that. समझ में आ गया? Yes or no? There's only one question that you guys should have asked is why did we follow weighted average method? While computing the cost of closing stock, I've included opening stock also. Did I not? While computing closing stock beta, we have done opening stock plus process 2. Nowhere is it specified, guys, that it is weighted average, but this is the only question that continues. They're following this. That means they're indirectly following weighted average method only. But now it will become difficult as such to ascertain what portion of inventory. वो उसके लिए फिर I need work in progress का degree of completion and everything. It will get way too complicated. That is why they do it like this. समझ में आया? Yes or no, kids? शुरू करो. Correct presentation, beta. Start copying.